carrying this thing about all day. One more of these and we got broadcasting out.
My aerial, I think it's a 10 element aerial I made from scrap. Does work well. Nobody wanted it, and I can't put it up here because I'm not allowed to. So I'm going to take it apart. It was just an experiment to see, you know, what could be done with scrap material, and it works fine. SWR is perfect. So I'm going to take all the screws out and cut it up for scrap, and obviously save the coax and the bits of copper and the matching tube and things like that. Yeah, it saves the screws, bits and pieces, the active dipole and the coax to do the aerial, and I'm going to break the elements off like going to recycling. I'm going to break these off, just hit them with a mallet and take them off and then cut the pole up, and then that'll be it, gone. Yeah, most of them are off now. Just got to knock that one off and then cut the main pole up, and it goes recycling. Sections cut up with the angle grinder, and now that can go in the recycling bin. Continuing on with the FRG-7, waiting for parts to come, but inside the unit was an old tobacco tin mounted here where the battery goes, and it's actually a step down board from VHF, the 2 meter band, to 28 megs, and it's like a little converter, which is not original. But what I'm doing is, I didn't like the tobacco tin, it was going rusty, so I'm actually mounting this in another case or box, and I'm making it of printed circuit board again. And I've just made some spacers, some copper spacers to go between the circuit board, and this is car brake pipe, and I've just cut it down, and it's just the right size. Try and use as much scrap material as possible. So this spacer here, all it is a short piece, very small piece of car brake pipe, which looks like this, you know, my magnetic loop area. I'll try and recycle as much material as possible to make things, and what I've got to do now is make the sides, and yeah, and try and get it into a better case or box which is screened, and then I'll put connectors on it, and it'll be a neater job if I'm going to refit it back into the radio. That's the first side soldered. I've got to cut this board here, and that'll be for the other side here, like that, and solder it, and then it'll be making holes in the end for the connectors. And what I've thought about doing is, because my Malin height receiver only goes to 30 megs and it's these SMA connectors, I thought the output to be SMA and the input maybe a PL259 socket. I don't know yet, but it's all experimental as usual. Well, that's the case coming on. Got the hole for the SMA connector. Not a pretty sight, never is when you're making a box out of circuit board. It'll clean up. It's not the best bit of soldering. Yeah, there's little balls and stuff. I think it'll be alright. Make a nice screen box for it anyway. Sand it down, tidy it up. Got to put the other end on now. I'm running out a bit on this material. I was hoping that this bit will fit in there, but I've got a few sheets left. It's a cheap way of making a box, I suppose. Okay, so here we have the VHF to HF down converter built in or moved into a proper box now with connectors on. I've got to find a way of putting a power lead through here. See if it will run from a 9-volt battery. That's what I'm going to do next, and yeah, it's coming on very nicely. Okay, this is the digital readout for the FRG-7. This left down wire here, coax, where does that go? The left hand coax goes down here, the left hand coax. This right hand coax on this board goes down near the transformer there, so I'm going to unsolder them. FRG in bits. This is a display board. One of the segments is out on the LED indicator here, and this sits in, and the circuit board has got actually FRG-7 on the board. So what's wrong with it? Well, the display's out, but I don't really notice. Just put this back in where it should be. This heatsink here, you see it flexes. It's actually connected to the positive of this supply. So if this touches the case, it'll short out the power supply. What a crap design this is. There's no insulation. You expect to find a bit of insulation down here. Look, it's just, see, it's just floating. Look, it moves. And that sits in there, and there's such a narrow gap, and the lid could touch on this and short out. No insulation material at all in this case, and this is ground, and that's positive there, and that's negative. So this is actually live. I can touch on the case. What a crap design that is. Just been thinking more and more to do with the FRG-7, and there's some obvious things I'm not happy about. In the past, it's had the battery pack or battery holders removed and the 2-meter converter, down converter, fitted, and originally it was in a tobacco tin. This works okay on its own, so I'm probably going to use that with my Height radios, because this radio doesn't have FM, and most of the 2-meter band is FM anyway, so that'll get reused. Just put that back in there a minute. And then I don't know whether this is original, don't look like it, but a digital display has been added to this, but there's been no consideration taken by doing this in increasing the actual power supply capability. So it has to drive all its original electronics, the power supply, and a frequency counter, which has got a lot of ICs in them, and there may be low power, but that does get warm, and this doesn't take a lot of power either, but it's all additional power being drawn from the original power supply. So I wasn't happy about that. I just put those to one side. The mains cable has been changed to this really thick one, which is a bit ridiculous because this is a portable, and it's that thick, this cable, you can't wind it round here. These little pegs here act two things. When it's pushed against the wall, it gives it a bit of an airspace, but also it stops the connectors from getting damaged. But when you're operating portable with it and you're using the battery pack, you would normally wind up the mains cable around there. But this is such a big, thick, heavy cable, it's not practical. Nothing's been thought about to do with this. What else? Yeah, the mains transformer has either been changed or something, because all the wires have been changed on it for some reason. So whether that's original or they fitted a bigger one, I'm finding lots of screws loose, generally poor soldering, and jumper leads all over the place. And I'm wondering whether the front end's been damaged because somebody's had a transmitter on this and it's not switched over, and it's burnt some components out. Because I notice on the local and DX switch a lot of resistors have been changed, so I'm wondering whether a transmitter's been shoved in it and probably popped the front end. All the oscillators seem to work, so I'm a bit puzzled and a bit annoyed. You know, I don't know why you would want to take those two wires together. There, that's a plug there. I don't know why that's done like that. You know, I assume that went to the battery, but it looks like the red and the black have been taped together, so maybe that's better with that plug out. Yeah, there's all sorts of strange things going on. Loose screws, and there's been some work on the circuit board down here and on this one. Yes, I did purchase it cheap, and perhaps I'm moaning too much. For what I paid, I thought I got a good deal actually, even for using it for bits. But yeah, there's no care been taken in doing any repairs on it. Yeah, I've got to change some more of these electrolytics, I think, in the power supply. I've changed the main ones, and yeah, that one, and that one, which cause the most problems. There's some over here I should probably change, and there's not many actual electrolytics in this radio, but I should change them all. Yes, because of the age. And yeah, there's one electrolytic in this power unit here for the display. There's nothing in here for the 2-meter converter. Yeah, so there's been no consideration taken that these extra boards are going to take power. Anyway, I think I'm having a little bit of a moan. I'm going to have a close look at this DX switch in a minute, and I think there's some protection diodes on it somewhere for the front end. I'll see if they're gone short.